What's up, guys? Coach Michelle here. Welcome to the Charge YouTube. Today, Coach Betsy and I had the honor to speak with a woman named Tess from Atlanta. She started a running group called Runningnerds, which, like, fantastic name right there. I give you like major props, Tess. She got into running in 2010, found a love and passion for it, and found the opportunity to create more than just a community of runners in the Atlanta area. We're gonna speak with her in just a second. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna dive into how she founded Runningnerds, her experience, and really focusing on what's going on in the world right now and how her race, called The Race, you won't forget it, is really impacting the Black community in so many ways. I swear, this race is gonna blow up. I can't say it as well as she does, so we'll let Tess do the talking. Let's dive right into this video right now and welcome in Tess.
Well, hello and welcome to the Charge YouTube channel. Coach Betsy here with Coach Michelle interviewing Tess Marshall. We're so glad to have you here. Tess owns Runningnerds, LLC. It's a Black-owned business which produces the Run Social Atlanta Race Series, which is an incredible series here in my hometown of Atlanta. The big old group run, the race, and various charity partners and events. Gosh, it's just amazing. Runningnerds really was created to facilitate a community of walkers and runners of all levels, paces, races, and creeds. So with that, I give you Tess.
Hello, how you guys doing today?
We're so good.
We're okay. We're doing okay. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So I guess we can really start from the beginning. So what is your running background before we get into how you started everything? Like, what's your running background?
Well, I always like to start off that I was a basketball athlete prior to you too?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
awesome.
just through high school, not like college.
So you know that basketball athletes and pretty much every sport other than a running sport are lazy when it comes to running. So becoming a runner was something, if you would have told me when I was in high school or even college and even my early 20s, I would have told you you're crazy. There's no way, no interest whatsoever. Once I got into my early 30s, going and playing, pickup basketball and even just going to the gym on a regular kind of became, it's kind of redundant to me. So, I would find myself when I was in my car, how you're sitting in the car and runners will like run past you. And I would find myself looking at them like, man, that seems crazy. But in the back of my mind, I wished I could do it. And I mean, I've always been the type of person that, if I want to do something, give it a try first before you say you can't do it. So when I moved to Atlanta in 2010, I actually signed up for a 5K. Well, I was moving to Atlanta. So I signed up for a 5K that was going to take place the weekend that I moved. So I started training. I moved from Augusta and I started training for this 5K around my neighborhood in Augusta. So I would go out and run like 10 minutes and 15 minutes. And then I wasn't really tracking miles. If you would have asked me, I ran 50 miles in 10 minutes. That's how it felt. So I did that first 5K. I think it was May 8th or 9th of 2010. And my only goal was to run the whole time. I didn't know anything about Atlanta Hills at that point. I was introduced quickly. Betsy, you might know that it was the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure, the one that they used to do it at Atlantic Station. So
okay,
yeah, that course was brutal. But I accomplished the goal of running the whole time. And I think I finished it in 29 minutes and 59 seconds. So I was like, I want to finish under 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those, I didn't know what I didn't know situations. So that was great. And, I didn't know any other runners, but I remember going on Facebook and saying, hey, I did a 5K today. And my brother, my mom, and my friend from high school basketball all said, good job. That was it. So fast forward to the next year, some friends asked me to do a 10K. And so I hadn't run again since that time. I kind of gotten into, getting into the swing of things, being here in Atlanta. I was working as a personal trainer. I was running boot camps and things like that, but I wasn't running for exercise. And a friend asked me to sign up for a 10K. So I signed up for that. And same thing, just my goal was to try to run the whole time. I wanted to finish in under an hour. Did both of those goals. And that was the race that kind of got me going. I was like, man, I really liked seeing myself get better as a runner. I liked the fact that it sucked at the beginning and I couldn't go more than 10, 15 minutes without stopping. And eventually, so that hooked me. And I started looking for ways to stay involved and stay motivated. And so you said we'll get into how I started Runningnerd. That kind of morphs.
Yeah, it really does.
But that's how my running journey started. So I've been running since 2011 consistently.
That's so funny. There's something about that first or second race that you do. Like, you don't think you're going to be this, part of a running community, like a runner. You're just like, oh, it's kind of addicting. Yeah. And I'm sure that you're competitive from a basketball background.
Yes.
It was like my first 10K, I was like, yeah, there's something about this.
Yeah.
Like just that feeling. And then it just kind of morphs into a love for the community of running. So,
it took a long time to get to the love part. I love what it did for me, but the actual love of running, that took a long time. And that's the ebb and flow.
No, yeah, I get that. It's funny that you said you started running in 2010 too, because that's the year that I actually started running as well.
Yeah, yep.
But,
so 10 years.
I love it. So you guys are actually both relatively new runners.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to run anything more than a mile or two back in like basketball days. I was like, what's the point?
Exactly. And, like I said, I coached basketball as well. And I never made my teams run more than a mile. Like, I didn't think it was necessary for them to run more than a mile. Now, you wouldn't want to be on my team now. I'd be like, okay, we're doing a 5K every weekend for conditioning. They would hate me today.
Our sport is other sports punishment.
Exactly.
Yeah. It totally makes sense.
You moved to Georgia from Indiana, correct?
No, so here's the trail.
There's a story, right?
I'll start from high school. So high school, I went to UVA for undergrad and graduate school. And then I went to Northern Virginia, then Ohio for a basketball coaching position. And then I moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan for a head basketball coach position. And then that's what brought me to Augusta. I was at Augusta State University for a year, and then here in Atlanta. So that was the move. So that's all the pre-college, post-college moves. There's more before that if you want to get into that.
Wow. Yeah, nobody in Atlanta is from Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot of transplants. So I'm proud transplant. And no matter, I mean, do you know people who like moved here when they were like 2 and they still can't say they're from Atlanta? Like Atlanta will not let them claim Atlanta as their hometown unless they were born at one of the hospitals. So they're serious about that.
It's true. It's very, very true.
So then how did you start Runningnerd?
Mm-hmm. Picking up on the story of me getting started with running, after I did that 10K, one thing that I noticed at the races that I participated in is that you didn't see a whole lot of African-American runners out there. I mean, Atlanta, it's definitely changed a lot in Atlanta, particularly in the last 10 years. But at that time, I could probably count on one hand how many Black runners I saw at these events. So I had this thought in my mind. I was like, what if I started a running group for Black women to get together and run? Because I was seeing already how much I enjoyed it and how much, it brought to my life and my health. But literally upon that thought, the next day I was on Facebook and I saw an ad for Black Girls Run, and they were looking for ambassadors in various cities. They were expanding. So I signed up to be an ambassador for the Black Girls Run Atlanta chapter, and signed up for that, became a leader in that organization. And we helped to grow the Atlanta chapter exponentially in the first year. And literally all of my friends, I accredit that organization and the founders at the time creating that organization. That's the reason why I stuck to running and I got involved in running. So as a leader in the group, I would find myself organizing these huge group runs. We would have group runs of 100 women sometimes meeting up every week. And kind of drawing off of my coaching experience where I used to put on basketball camps and organize, I was like, it'd be kind of fun to put on a race and just invite the whole running community. And, when we really got into it, we were calling ourselves running nerds all the time because we were just so nerdy about this whole new running journey. Like you go run and then you go on Facebook and you post, and then everybody would comment about it and they're posting pictures. So we're really getting into that. Our BGR Atlanta group page was almost like 10,000 within the first like month or two that we started. Like it just grew. So got the idea to put on a 5K. So I called it the Runningnerds 5K. started a Facebook page called Runningnerds, and it was literally to include all runners of all paces, races, creeds, interest levels, whether you're running multiple races or you just like to run the Peachtree every year. It was supposed to be inclusive of everyone, and that's what the race itself was to represent. And that first year, we had 400 participants in that first Running Nerds 5K, and I'm like, how the heck were we able to do that in the first year? I mean, I have some races I put on now that I would love to get 400 people to sign up for it, but so that's how Running Nerds got started. That grew from one race to another race that we still put on called the ATO Relay 10K and 20K. The REI ATO Relay 10K and 20K. Shout out to REI. And that race will be in its 9th year this year. And then that race grew to another race, and then that grew to a series. And then that grew to people coming to me and saying, hey, I see you put on races. Can you help us to put on a race? So I started, getting clients that wanted us to help them. And over the last 4 to 5 years, we've really become very self-sufficient. So we do our own timing. We do our own coning. The only thing that we don't do, which I have no interest in doing, is porta potties and fencing. I got a guy for that, and I told him he never has to worry about me losing my business on that. And then in the midst of even putting on the races, we've had training groups. We put on group runs. I got my coaching certification, so I do some coaching. I've also been able to help some of the traveling events that come to Atlanta, help them get their footing with permitting, and just being able to interact with the running community. I've been a crew chief for several Atlanta Track Club events, which is awesome. I've had a chance to be on panels, and that's how I met Betsy. We served on a panel right at the beginning of the coronavirus, everything shutting down, and we served on a panel just to talk about how we can stay active in the community. So that's how I found out about Charge. So, it's been a great journey. It's always crazy when I hear myself talk about everything that we've done over the last 10 years. And it all started with my just selfish wanting to have cool people to run with. That's the whole basis for Running Nerds, is so that I can have people to run with. So
if it's not there, build it, right?
Exactly.
Have you been so you are magnetic. I'm so mad that I didn't know you earlier. I really am. You're just one of those people man, I wish I'd known you for 10 years. Have you been pulling people together your whole life?
My mom mentioned that. I've always been Switzerland. So let me explain. So you remember in high school when you had your cliques, the athletes, the nerds, the whatever, stereotypical. I was always that one that could dip into any of those groups and comfortably fit in. And I went to three different high schools. I moved around a lot as a teenager. So I guess I always just had to figure out a way to quickly fit in. I didn't have this my friends since the first grade situation, or the neighbor that always lived across the street. So I've always had to, even coming to Atlanta, I came to Atlanta at 33, and it's hard to move to a new city as an adult because, most people, have their niches that they're, so I had to kind of create a niche. So, I think if I really think about it, I guess I have always been that way, but it was mostly just because I had to find a way to fit in. If I had to move now, I'm 42 now. I would just start a run club.
I think that's really the secret to getting a group.
Yeah. So
I feel like Running Nerds is the coolest name. When Betsy was talking about it, I was like, okay, wait, what? Running Nerds? I feel like we all feel like running nerds. Yeah. Nerds of running if you get really into it. So
yeah, exactly. Nerdy about running.
Genius name.
I always say, yeah. And I, coming from UVA, we have a little nerd aspect to them too, so that helped with the nerd part. And then being here, Georgia Tech students love the name. Whenever I meet a Georgia Tech runner, they're like, oh yes, I want a shirt.
Yes, I was looking at the apparel. I feel like you started the company relatively quickly from kind of getting into your running journey. Would you say so?
I think Betsy's probably picked up on this, is when I come up with an idea, I just go with it, just move forward with it.
Yeah.
And the thing that helps is that if people want it and respond to it, that makes it easier to move forward, right? I mean, think about when Charge started, if nobody was popping into the runs, then it wouldn't be very encouraging to keep doing. But, when you're getting that, 10, 20, 30, 200 people popping into a run, that encourages you to want to keep going. And so I feel like everything that we've done has been in response to what people want, not just me, coming up with, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to force it down the running community's throat, because we have a great running community. I mean, very vibrant. We have one of the best track clubs in the world. We have group runs just about every day. You can find somewhere to run with a group if you choose. Our trail and park system is getting better every year. So
That's cool.
I feel like I'm just adding, cool opportunities for people to get involved.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like there's definitely not only a want for it in the Atlanta community, there's a need for it to bring everybody together and, show people what the heck running is, people that haven't done it before. Yeah. So what's the difference between Run Social Atlanta and Runningnerd?
So
Runningnerd Nation.
Runningnerds is the company. And back in the day, I used to refer to everything as like the Runningnerds race series or Runningnerds. But so Runningnerds LLC is the name of the company. And I still hesitate when I say company because that sounds so formal, but technically that's what it is. So if you are registering for a race, your receipt's going to say Runningnerds LLC. Run Social Race Series is the brand. It's a series of races that we put together. There's 6 races plus an event we do called the Big Old Group Run. So, and that came about because some of our races, the ATL relay, we we put on 2 races with Monday Night Brewing. At the time, just 1. But we figured out like our races, the unique thing about them is that, one, they bring all these different people together, all, like I said, all interest levels of running. You get your runners that run every weekend, and we get your runners that only run a couple times. And then people were sticking around after the races for like hours because of the venues and the experience that we created. So I just came up with the idea of Run Social. So we branded Run Social and put all of our races under that series. So it's the Run Social Race Series. So yeah, so Runningnerds is the event producer, if you will.
Got it.
And I have to give Tess props here because she is the inspiration for our Monday night race series that we're doing right now. Yeah. Just this last Monday, we had our 1 miler. We'll have our 5K, our 5 miler, our 10 miler, and
don't even get me started.
Yeah, we all ran it. All
1 milers. I'm like, I'd rather run a marathon. Honestly, that was awful.
And it's not to get you off track, but I did mine on a track. I haven't run a mile on a track in so long.
When did you do it? Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I did it on Monday, and I was like, I could stop halfway through and be fine. Like, this is terrible. Yeah. That race series, Betsy was telling me how it's like, kind of makes up for that. The brewery meetup on Monday, or
yeah. So we have 2 races that we had to pivot that were supposed to take place on Mondays. So one was on Memorial Day. We have our Urban Tree Cidery 5K, and then the 22nd was supposed to be the Monday Night Brewing, which is the name of a brewery. Monday Night Brewing, too many races. Monday Night Brewing, Monday Nighter, which we actually do that race on a Monday night. And so the idea that I threw out there was, hey, it'd be kind of cool to do some Monday night races, and I can encourage people to do their our virtual pivot in the Charge app. So we'll be definitely pumping that up over the next couple of weeks for people to use that, the Sweat Angel series, to complete their virtual race.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So obviously during this time, during the quarantine, how have you guys pivoted as a company?
Yeah.
As a running community?
Well, a lot. We started a campaign called Active, Connected, Positive, which was, I know everyone's using those terms, but and I have one of my little stickers that I got made up here. Can you guys see that? It's sick. Reflective. Isn't it cool?
Yeah, that's real. What the heck? We need those.
I'll send you both one.
Okay.
So it started off I was emailing the audience every week because we had one race right in the beginning of the pandemic that we had to cancel or postpone, the Top Golf 5K. So I had to communicate with our the people who were registered and the folks that would have registered, what we had going on. So I just started literally just writing to the email list, the community, which we have about 5,000 on that email list. And, just giving tips on how to stay active, connected, and positive. And the very first one I sent all these resources. Here's everyone that's offering free workouts. And I remember telling everybody, like, we need to jump on all these apps, try all these free workouts. Everybody was doing, these groups were forming. So then from there, we had to make the decision about our, those 2 races that I mentioned before. So we announced that. And then I just started doing these Instagram live shows every Monday where I just go on IG and just talk to people. We interviewed some of our partners to try to see how we can keep them connected. And then, of course, I discovered Charge, and it's been great just having something that I can commit to, get it out there and run. I've done 2 half marathons with Charge, which have been awesome. And, just encouraging people. I started coaching again. So I had kind of taken some time off of coaching. So I started a training team, and we just finished up an 8-week period. So a lot of those chargers that I brought into the fold were from our training team, and a lot of them kept going with the app. And then we're starting a new training team for the summer. So things like that. And we're planning for the fall. I just had a conversation with the City of Atlanta permit office, and they're still on a moratorium for hosting event or accepting permits. So what we have to do, and you might hear this from a lot of race directors, depending on what state they're in, we have to plan for not being able to have a live event and for possibly being able to have a smaller scale live event. So still a lot, it's still busy. I feel like everyone's like, oh, I don't have anything to do. Man, I feel like I'm more busy these days just with all the computer time and yeah. So, and on top of all that, I am still trying to stay active in my own running. So I am like in so many challenges and races right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, so for the race in October, so you're having to plan for an instance of having a smaller in-person event or virtual or postponing it again?
We're going to do we're going to be offering our registered participants. We have over 1,300 people who are people are still registering for the race, even though we have been like, we don't know what's going to happen. So that says a lot about.
That says a lot about the community that is going to run and committed to this race.
Exactly.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah. So we are going to offer the opportunity for people to run virtually, hopefully in partnership with Charge. And then also, if we are able to host a live, like a group run, really souped up group run event here in Atlanta, people will be able to participate in that in October, because the date's in October 3rd. So it's like too far out to really like know what we're going to look like at that time, but it's also coming up and people need to know if they're traveling from, California, Wisconsin, New York. And then also you have to keep in mind people's comfort level. Even if things do open up, there's so much information out there that's telling us that we shouldn't be opening up. And, a lot of people listen to that, and I don't blame them because there's no consistent information. But what we don't want to do is cancel the race. It's happening. The race is happening.
All right.
Hopefully announcing all the pivots on Monday. But hey, if you posted before and people get a little heads up information, then that's a perk they get for watching the YouTube video.
They heard it here first.
They heard it here.
I know. What can we say?
Well, let's talk a little bit about that race, because I feel like it's a great event in itself. Mm-hmm. And the timing right now with everything happening in our country, I feel like it's that much more important right now and this year. And tell us a little bit about the event, about the race.
The race.
I mean, this is the 3rd year for the race.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Oh, that is correct.
And, it's an event that a bunch of friends of mine have done and speak very, very highly of. So tell us all about it.
Yeah. So the race is a half marathon and 5K that is put on by the Black running community. And I say for the Black running community, and hopefully you'll understand when I say for, what I mean by that. And we intentionally support Black-owned businesses. We look for sponsors and partners that are small businesses, Black-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. And we run through the West Side neighborhoods of Atlanta, which are some of the historically Black neighborhoods of Atlanta. And the whole idea of the race came about, there's been tremendous growth of African Americans and participating in amateur road racing over the last 10 years. And, we love the sport. We've loved what it's given to our communities, helping to dispel some of the health disparities that we experience in our communities. Definitely bringing that positive energy whenever you see someone running in your neighborhood. That there's nothing but positive vibes when you see that. And, at least, that's been my experience. I love, like, when I'm running in a neighborhood and people are looking at me and waving at me and saying, "You got it, girl, keep going." So we wanted to bring that feeling to the Black neighborhoods and historically Black neighborhoods in Atlanta. And as you all know, Atlanta has a very rich history of a very rich Black history. A lot of the milestones that you hear about in history happened and started here in Atlanta. A lot of businesses that are larger corporations, Black-owned corporations, started here or have their home base here in Atlanta. So we thought this was the perfect place to do it. And then we also felt like, again, we've had this tremendous growth. We've got a lot of resources. I'm a race director. As I mentioned, we have the ability to put on events. We have our own timing. We have Black Girls Run, Black Men Run. The South Fulton Running Partners are 3 organizations that were started here in Atlanta. So again, we had this case for, let's put on an event that celebrates all the beauty of Black excellence. So we actually started the race as a Kickstarter campaign. You guys familiar with Kickstarter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
We did it as an event project, and we asked runners from all over the country. And Betsy, if you would have been my friend during this time, talk about flooding the timelines. This is all we talked about. Back the race, back the race, back the race, back the race. We created a beautiful video. I just rewatched the video a couple weeks ago and started crying again. And runners from all over the nation, all over the world, really, because we had a few internationals, pledged their registration fee to back the race. So you know how Kickstarter works. You set an amount that you want to receive in pledges. Mm-hmm. If you hit that amount, everyone pledges are committed. If you don't hit that amount, then no one gets charged anything. And you say, well, guess it was a good idea, and people didn't want it. But the people wanted it. We had over 750 backers for the race.
Wow.
And we hit our funding goal about a week before the deadline. So that was 2017. And then 2018, we opened up registration for our inaugural event. First year, we had 1,400 runners and walkers from 40 different states. It was about 87% identified as African American. And, of course, we you asked the question on the registration. So those who chose to identify, and it was just a beautiful experience. And, I have a very diverse circle of running friends. I'm very proud to be one of the founders of the Black Girls Run Atlanta chapter. But my running journey has taken me to every, corner of this Atlanta running community. And I was so honored that Atlanta supported this race. Atlanta Track Club actually had a volunteer. They do mile 10 water station. And even the director, Rich Canal, was out there at the water station helping out the whole staff. We have various charities, local charities and organizations that get out on the course and volunteer. And then, like I said, the runners really come out and participate. And it's just a beautiful event. So 2019, we had about 1,700 participants. And the other part of the race that I'm very proud of, that we're very proud of, is we also use it as a vessel to serve. So we ask all of our race participants to give back by doing volunteer work on the Sunday of our race weekend, because it's a whole weekend. Oh. Yeah, Thursday night we have a welcome night event where everybody comes and we just have a big party. And then Friday is our health and wellness expo, speaker series, packet pickup. Saturday is the race itself. And again, it's a half marathon and a 5K, volunteers. And then Sunday is community impact service day. So we have about 10 projects all over the Atlanta area where the runners can come and then serve with their hands. And then we do have a monetary portion of the community impact as well. So it's a special event. You know, it was created for us, by us, but everyone is welcome to participate and support and feel the vibe and the energy of the event. I mean, there's nothing negative to say, but you know, I've never gotten any negative vibe from anyone on this event. You know, little stuff like my registration fee,
the parking,
stuff. But in terms of the event, and you know, as you mentioned before, we feel like, you know, when I say we, my team that helps to plan the race, like the heightened awareness on, you know, racial injustice and the things that are going on in our world, we feel like the race was literally put together to help, you know, bring people to the table to have those conversations, but not necessarily verbally, but just experiences that you can point to. You know, I can't tell you how many of my white friends have come to me and said, Tess, you know, what you've done with the race, I really feel like that, I don't know, they feel really appreciative that they've been exposed to the race and understand what it's like to just come and be a part of something that's not necessarily focused on you, but you can appreciate, you can celebrate alongside. It's like if I go to participate in, again, the Susan G. Komen, I've never had breast cancer. I don't have any immediate family members, but I can absolutely go to that event and be empathetic and celebrate the victories that those women have had. I always love like standing around for the balloon release that they do. I mean, certainly it's not a complete parallel, but you know, just to give you, you know, the idea of how you can participate and support something that isn't necessarily about you. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think this is gonna blow up, and I know Betsy, you're saying that too. But I can see the race being like the next rock and roll series where it's all over the world.
I feel like there's a need.
There's a need, yeah.
Everywhere. I don't know. And running is just such a way to bring people together. And I, like you were saying, how your friends can just feel it. I agree with Michelle. I really think your porta potty guy is going to be busy.
Yeah, he can handle it too. But no, I mean, that sentiment is echoed amongst all of my running buddies, Black, white, Hispanic, Indian. You know, we all feel like, and you weren't on the second kind of conversation that I had, Betsy, but I came up with this term that I just kind of made up off the top of my head called unity privilege. I feel like runners, we have unity privilege because we're so used to just being unified. Like it's hard for us to have the hard conversations because we feel, and I might be speaking for myself, I don't know, but we feel like, hey, we got this. Like this isn't an issue for us because we're unified. So it's almost like a privilege in that we're not as quick to see things from a ununified perspective. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that any of that made sense. I'm still trying to figure out how to define unity privilege. If I'm going to make up a term, I like that. Yeah.
Well, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. That's very, very interesting. You think about, just familiarity. You don't see the big picture. Tess, as an aside, Tess does these amazing like Zoom calls. They're fantastic. There's just these open conversations, and just really important to have the conversations and talk about the hard things and bring them up and work through your feelings and your thoughts. So those are the calls that she's referring to, because
and that's just a personal thing that just so happens. I love it. 95% of the people in there are my running buddies, but I mean that's my world. But yeah, it was just something I felt moved to do because I know a lot of my friends and colleagues and family members, you know, we want to understand each other's perspectives. We absolutely want to. And sometimes you just need a comfortable place to ask the questions that you might not be sure of. I've had some great conversations with some of my friends that we are on very different parts of the spectrum when it comes to, you know, morals and ideals, and well, not necessarily morals. Pretty much everybody, we have the same morals, which I think is important, but ideas and how to approach things and how to have conversations, that's not always going to be 100% lined up. So having the ability to have those conversations is very important.
Yeah. Those are similar conversations than what you would have like on a long run with somebody. You know how it's just open and flowing. That's why I love those long runs.
Yeah.
You really can just open up and speak what's on your mind. Talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Betsy and I were talking about, everything going on right now with Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so powerful, and it's really cool to see that movement grow and have people stand behind it. But we were talking about how we were getting uncomfortable with certain situations, but we were appreciative of feeling uncomfortable because it helped us grow from the situation of asking questions. Right now is the time to talk about things. Right now is the time to have each other's backs. What are your thoughts on kind of how can we as a company, I guess, be more inclusive and understanding of one another?
Right.
And an ally to the Black running community. Really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I've had these conversations quite a bit, as you can imagine, over the last couple of weeks. And the thing that kind of takeaway that I have found to be most useful is, one, it is appreciated and acknowledged when our white friends and our businesses that we interact with and companies that we support do say that we stand with you. That's appreciated. Absolutely. If there was ever any doubt whether or not you should speak on speak. If that's how you feel, then speak it. And I would say that just the same, if you don't feel like you stand with, the Black community during this time of heightened awareness, then say that too, and give us the option to move forward with you or not. So that's the first thing I would say. And on a personal level, and this is what I've told my friends, be bold in your stance for humanity and have those conversations in places that we can't be. I can't be at your family table. I don't know what your family makeup is, but assuming, you have family members that may have different thoughts or opinions or questions, I can't be there. If you are bold in your stance, one way that you can be an ally is to be bold even away from friends of color. And that sometimes is the challenge. And, that's something that we talked about on the conversations that I hosted was, how it can be challenging when you're kind of butting heads with people. And a lot of us, and myself included, we just back down from the conversation and say, you know what, you just don't get it. You're never going to see things the same. So I think this is a time for us to be bold because there's confidence now in being bold, right? Like you got backing now if you're bold. Companies that are, making these stances, again, it's appreciated. And I hate this term, but I'm going to use it. They're drawing a line in the sand of who they want to be and who they want to support. And I think it's awesome. I can't speak for all Black people, but I personally, as someone that's, in the running community, does business in this community, it is truly appreciated. I got an email from PetSmart saying that they stood with. I was like, okay, let me go get some treats for the dog. Every time I got an email or interact with, posts, it just feels good, and it makes me feel that unity privilege just gets a little stronger. So anyway, so that's what I would say. And, again, these are challenging conversations, especially if you're in a bubble and you don't have to see these things every day. I have not personally experienced police brutality. I have not personally felt like I was discriminated against because of the color of my skin. But because I'm a Black woman, there's always going to be that possibility that I could. And the empathy to those situations will absolutely always be there. And I encourage you to continue to be bold with that stance and make it known if that's how you feel.
I really appreciate you saying that. That was really well said. I think a lot of times too, every human needs to realize that this isn't political. This is not about politics at all. This is about human rights. This is about your friend, your family. Like these are about people.
Yeah.
So, I just appreciate you saying that. There's just a lot going on that we're trying to sort through. But I think kind of like what you said, going off topic, but kind of on topic. Having those hard conversations, I think, is something that I struggle with. I post what I feel and I will speak up. I think when you have friends that don't want to talk negatively about police by saying Black Lives Matter, it's hard for me to have that conversation with them. We're saying Black Lives Matter doesn't mean, screw you police. How do you say like these are two separate things?
Yeah. Well, I think that it just comes down to educating yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, and unfortunately, we can't control what someone's going to post, what article someone's going to post, and you read the headline. And I've saw this 7 times today. Someone posted an article with a picture. Someone read the headline and then started making all these comments based on what the headline says. Never clicked into the article, didn't.
It's clickbait.
On the article was written in 2016, guys. Come on. Let's not jump off.
It's like, hold on, everybody.
That, to me, that sets back progress so much. So, even like Black Lives Matter, how many of us have been on the website to actually see what Black Lives Matter is about? And my friend, a white friend of mine, she said, I wanted to look into this whole defund the police thing. And she's like, I think it's just a poor choice of words. Like, I agree with that. Like saying defund, when you hear the word defund, that means let's get rid of everybody.
Yeah. It's like, I still feel uneducated on that. Totally.
Yeah. There's just got to be a better way of hopefully having everybody just go running.
Yeah.
I think running, maybe that's the answer. I don't know.
For sure. I try to hear people from all sides because I want to understand what other people are thinking, just like I want people to try to understand, my point of view. At the end of the day, I want to believe that we all want humanity to exist. I really want to believe that. And and if that's not your goal, then that's sad. If that's not your goal.
Well, everybody's just trying to make a living and feed their family and be loved.
Yeah.
In the whole world, I think.
Just accepted in general.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fair desire. And if we can get to a common, or at least somewhat common place of how to get there, I think that's the key.
Thanks for talking about that. I really appreciate it because this is obviously a big talking point right now, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I did want to, kind of going off topic a little bit, bring up the Summer Heat Half Marathon.
Yes.
Where's that?
Talk about that.
Is this a half marathon that you've put on in the past or, okay, tell us a little bit about that. Because we're excited.
We used to put on virtual events. This before, or maybe at the beginning of when virtual events started blowing up. And the reason that we started putting on virtual events is because we were noticing people, me and my best friend, who's also my assistant race director, who's also our director of timing. We would go to the gym and we'd see people doing this 5K on a treadmill. But then when we'd say, hey, you should come out and do this race with us, they would look at us like we were crazy. So I was like, well, maybe they need to be in the comforts of their own gym at a treadmill, or maybe they don't want to be in crowds. So let's put on, and the original name for it was the Virtual Half Marathon and Treadmill Challenge.
Oh.
Yeah, it had this long name. Everything I do has really long names. You pick that up, except the race, right? So, so we put it on the first year and marketed around the world. We use active.com. So Active, they have a pretty large base. Got a few runners from Canada, all over the country, and then we did a summer. So that was a summer one. Then we did a winter one. So we call that the Winter Blast. So for 4 years, we put on Summer Heat and Winter Blast, and it kind of morphed from the treadmill challenge to could do a 5K, 10K, 10 mile, or a half marathon, or a combination of all of them. We get the medals and the shirts. It's the whole operation. One year we had 750 people participate in our summer one. And I literally had to hire a part-time staff to come in and create these packets. It was crazy. But we stopped putting the virtual races on. I think 2016 was the last one, just because virtual races were starting to pop up. And then our live races were there was one year where I had 18 races in a year when 3 of them were it was crazy. So I was like, let me cut the virtuals and let them take it. But anyway, so all that to say, we have the experience and there's a need. Like I said, it's a need. People need a goal. And I thought it would be an awesome way for us to test out our partnership with Charge.
Welcome, Charge.
So we are partnered with Charge Running and a couple of our other awesome sponsors to host the Runningnerd Summer Heat Revival Half Marathon. So.
She literally dusted off the Facebook page and
Yeah.
brought it back to life.
Oh, I have the medal samples. I'll show you guys.
Oh,
Oh
good,
my
good. They're
gosh.
awesome. Charge dudes are on there.
Oh, the little charge guys? Our logo?
Yeah, they're on the ribbon.
These medals are revamped medals,
I'm
and
freaking out.
these are two options that finishers will receive. You got this one. I love this one.
So cute.
And then this one. They're both sons, and
I like them both.
Both of them say finisher on the back. There you go. And then we have a custom medal that will feature Charge, Runningnerd, and then our other partners in the event, Base Performance, Good Wipes, and Relieve It Muscle Soreness Gel. So, but Charge is very prominent on the medal. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It's going to be super fun. And I've seen your video that you put together to tell everyone, all of our new Charge runners, how to get involved in the race. So you're throwing that out there. So it's going to be fun.
Great.
Both going to do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Unless we're coaching
we'll coach
it.
A little.
Okay.
But then we can run it. Yeah,
There you go.
I did that the last time I did one. It's like you coach for an hour because it's open for 4 hours, and then you can just jump in and run it. And It's perfect. There's something about a race with a medal, too. I think our runners are like, is there going to be a medal for this one? Sign-ups are going to be like...
Yeah, I can't wait for them. They're going to blow it up.
Yeah, we actually had one Charge runner sign up yesterday. I don't know how she found it. Maybe she saw it in the app, but the runner found it. She was like, I got to get in. So she's in.
Do you know who it was?
I could probably look it up. She answered, how did you hear about this event from Charge Running app? Because I put that as an option. Her name is Kristi Fernandez.
Oh, Kristi with an I?
I know it's interesting because we have profile names in the app that we see, and then people's real names. And
yeah, sometimes I see someone's last name on Facebook. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know you had a last name because I see Kristi.
That's awesome.
Shout out Kristi if we put this
I
in
have
there.
found that our community, there's a lot of really hard stuff going on right now, but then there's also a lot of really good stuff. People are pretty amazing when it comes down to it. And it gives me hope. And, I'm back in my rainbow unicorn area where especially our Charge community is incredibly generous and supportive. We just hosted a 5K this last weekend for a charity, came together last minute, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. It went beautifully. I got a message from the executive director of the charity saying, we got a unique donation from one of your Charge members who happened to just, hop into the app and be running at that time.
Wow.
We got to talk about it. And I was like, these people are we got some good people happening.
Oh,
here.
and
It's really cool.
Thanks for bringing that up because something I need to make sure I put more at the forefront. But we will be making a donation from the proceeds of the Summer Heat to Color of Change. And I chose that organization because it is a national organization. So hopefully people from all over the world can check out their platform. And
we definitely need to share that. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
That. Well, wow. This is a really good conversation. I can't believe it's already, 11 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock your guys' time.
Time for us to go to bed. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I could use a nap right now. I can tell you that. So tonight you're starting your in-person meetups again, right?
Yeah, so we are easing back into, or as I told the group, we're going to stride back into our meetup for West Midtown Run Club. So I got to check and see what Charge Run is taking place around that same time so I can double up. I'm all about the double credit for every run that I do.
I love, double
Absolutely.
Always. What time is it at?
So we start at 6:45-ish.
Julie Lynn has a 35-minute light base run right there.
Okay, that's why I'll be in there.
That's
and
awesome.
I'll try to, get some of my run clubbers, and I think we'll get a decent crowd because people are excited to get back to meetups.
They're like, I need social interaction.
What do you do? So I've just in the last couple of weeks, I haven't done a group run. How do you fight that urge to hug people? What is our new thing that we do?
Yeah.
You're such a hugger, Betsy.
So we've been doing air bows, which is something that, you can do. But I think everybody I've kind of preaches that mutual respect for you don't know how the other person. So I'm not hugging you because I don't want to hug you. I'm not hugging you because I don't know how you feel about me hugging you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm.
I think hugs are out for a while. Maybe we namaste or I don't know.
We've been doing the Wakanda salute too a lot. As the leader, I'm going to be the ones come on guys, we got to make sure. So we want to make sure that we show ourselves as responsible and sensitive to what's going on. so that when I go to the permit office, say, hey, I want to put on a race, so they say, okay, you guys can do this. You can be responsible.
So we're going to start promoting the Summer Heat half.
The full name is Runningnerd Summer Heat Virtual Half Marathon, or Summer Heat Half.
Okay, gotcha. We're going to start promoting that in the weeks coming up. So stay tuned. You're going to see a lot of charge runners signing up.
Hottest day of the year.
Oh,
Go big, go home, right?
I just want to say once again how awesome and innovative Charge is. I think it couldn't have come at a better time in our world. Again, heightened awareness. It's something that's been there for years, but I think you're going to definitely see a lot of runners engaging because we have to. But then as we continue to evolve and hopefully get back to some of our live races, people are going to stay on because of the community that Charge fosters and support. So I'm excited. I'm in for at least a year. So thank you guys for having the platform, for being awesome.
oh, thank you, Tess. I
And
really appreciate that.
you're awesome. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.